Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to Full Profits Podcast. With me today, my guest, Kwabena Nixon. Did I say it correctly?
Yes, sir. Kwabena.
Kwabena.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. So get right into it. What got you started in education?
Well, actually, I've been kind of in education since I was a young man.
Okay.
When I was in coming out in college. In the summer, I worked in the summer programs. I was in the classroom, and being in there really made me want to assist. So being in there, I would work in the summertime, and then later on I changed my major to education. I may change my major to education, and also just wanted to give what I didn't feel like I got when I was in school. I mean, really, that was the main thing. I'll never forget going into a counselor's office when I was in high school. I wasn't the best student by any means. However, uh, I was curious, watch one of these after school specials and they was talking about what you could do. I got motivated. So when I went in there and I was trying to tell them, I want to be a writer, etc., it was kind of like, yeah, that's nice. And they gave me a trade school pamphlet.
Mm,
Now I wasn't saying I was like, knew that was, but I just didn't seem like that was how that should have went. So I said, if I ever get opportunity, I would give a student, ask them what they want, and that's what led me into it. From that point on, I went to film school, and when I stopped film school, I joined the education ranks.
okay. So film school, what was your interest in that? Had that always been a thing for you growing up? Were you always interested in film or acting?
Well, it's crazy, right, King? I was well, I always well. First off, before I did anything, I was a poet. I'm a
Okay,
spoken word artist. I do spoken word. I'm a writer,
for sure.
speaker. So I wrote a poem in sixth grade because Miss May, my teacher, my father got killed when I was 11. He got
Mm,
killed the night before. And I didn't tell anybody when I went to school. You know how we grow up. That's our business. My grandmother uh, loved me, but emotions wasn't how. You understand what I mean? It was your father died, and
yeah.
she took it her way. Um, so when I went to school and they asked me it was time for basketball, I said I didn't do my homework. And since I didn't do my homework, I couldn't play. So I tore the classroom up. Like I tore the classroom up. And I mean literally. And the teacher, Miss may she rest. I don't know where she is, but I've been looking for her. Somebody told me she passed, but she told me that if I could do it, if I write a poem. So I wrote a poem. Uh Black is my color, black is my pride, black is something I cannot hide. When I look in the sky, what do I see? I see a black sky like me. Now, I didn't do it that fast. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do it that fast, but I did it. And after I did it, it was too late. I tore the classroom up, but she took my poem and she placed it on the wall.
Mm.
And for the first time, I got some attention. And then they took the poem and they put it downstairs in the hallway. And then they let me read it at announcements. And I got my attention. The next poem I wrote was at my father's funeral. That was the next poem I wrote. So
My
uh,
condolences.
thank you, King. I wrote that poem at 11. And growing up and you watching like Cooley High and these movies about coming of age, and John Singleton Matty Rich had just dropped the movie Straight Out of Brooklyn, right? And I remember watching that and I was like, I could do that. I could write about where I come from. I was growing up on the west side. I'm in the heart of it. I'm in the middle of it. I'm in that lifestyle, out that lifestyle, back and forth. And I remember watching that and I was like, I can do that. And unfortunately, several friends got killed over a 6 week period. And I just moved to Atlanta. I came back and I went to Columbia for film school. And that was that. I always wanted to tell stories, and that's what led me into writing and telling those stories.
Okay. Growing up in Chicago on the South Side or the East
West
Side, as
Side.
they call it.
West Side.
No, I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about myself
Okay.
now. All right. So growing up here in Chicago on the South Side or the East Side, I had friends who lost family members, mothers, and fathers to gang violence, or not necessarily gang violence, but they were
Right.
innocent bystanders in it.
Right.
Just standing outside on the porch or whatever.
Right.
And when a person, a family member gets killed, yours, mine, whoever it is, it's an impact that we don't know how to channel, deal
Yes, sir.
with, and it becomes misplaced anger and aggression, right? often with young black men, we tend to hold it on the inside and say nothing. And the only thing that ever validates it for us is our anger and our frustration, right?
No doubt.
As a man who wanted to help change the system and the way it works, did you ever come up with your own ways and solutions to get the young brothers to talk about that? Because
Yes.
I know, and I'll say this about myself. I harbored a lot of anger, a lot of anger. I was very angry. I had a big aggression problem. Man, I could almost smash your face through a wall if you gave me enough time.
Mm-hmm.
So for
Mm-hmm.
you, were you able to counteract that and find solutions and ways for the young men to express themselves without it becoming violent?
Right. And I just want to say, King, I heard that Chicago on your voice just now when
Mm-hmm.
you I love it, man. I had to throw that in there, man, because I know our accent and I know
Yeah.
that dialect. So when I hear it, I go, yeah, be from Chicago.
Yeah,
So
you know it. It's a certain twinge on them words, you know what I'm saying? And
it
you
come
know it
out.
when you hear it. Yes, sir.
It come out. Being an artist, uh, being an artist, me and my brother Muhib Dyer, we created Flood the Hood with Dreams.
Okay.
And in that, we have a conflict resolution training. One of the ways I was able to channel mine to your original question is through my art. My art always saved my life. The writing, the journaling, my art gave me an identity. My art gave me a voice, and my art gave me that thing that it gave me an insight that it's a bigger world than the 10-block radius I'm on. When we work with young men, because we do come from hip hop is a way of expressing that pain, right? We all of that, the message, Pac, Scarface, all of that, whatever we heard, they were expressing that pain. So
Mm-hmm.
with young men, we did spoken word. We try to let them hear our story, the power of storytelling, and then the other thing is let them use writing to release that anger. Cathartic writing, like they get to talk about it, and they can be unapologetic. So we do this exercise. We let them be unapologetically honest about what's going on in their life. And they just put the music on and we just write. And then they have to read it. So that's the releasing. The other thing is we really are heavy on King social emotional language, knowing
Mm-hmm.
your triggers. I host it every third Monday of the month in the city of Milwaukee. We have Real Men, Real Talk Barbershop. And in that circle, it's a healing for Black and brown men. The youngest person is 15, the oldest person is 75. We just let them know, one, it's okay to be angry. Ain't nothing wrong. We Black men in America. You Black, there's a lot we need to be angry about.
Yes. Yes.
But the power of it is how do you channel that anger? You know what I mean? Every super, and if I can be, my Marvel Comics, DC Comics, they say every superhero has anger.
Mm-hmm.
It's the channeling of it. I heard this great, and you may have seen it in your work. They tell this story because you're talking about the young men. They tell a story about the hero and the villain. They say
Same
hero,
story.
villain, huh?
Same story.
Right. Hero, same story. But the only difference is the hero says, I don't want anybody to go through this pain. So he goes out his way to help them. The villain job is I'm gonna make everybody feel what I felt so they can know how I felt.
Because he
So
internalizes it.
yeah, the general, like here, all y'all gonna feel this, right? And I'm gonna spread it out like a disease. So we ask young men, one, and also, and let me say this too, don't let 30 seconds get you 30 years.
Whew.
Like King, think about what's gonna happen.
Mm.
I mean, you gotta really, so when we dealing with young men, and it could be some intense situations, and we say, hold up, take a look at this picture now. You need to really see how this gonna go. You hit him, this gonna happen, and this is the long term, right? And the judge is not coming leniency. He's not gonna sit with you and say, "Oh man, you grew up in a rough neighborhood," and I understand. It's not happening that way. They
Mm-mm.
looking. Black boys already get treated older than they are,
Correct.
right? So we're asking a young man, family, look at your life. Pay attention to this. I know it might be rough now, but if you do this, the consequences going to be severe. So we try to do several things. One, if we're in a room, write your problems down. Two, know your trigger. Don't be afraid to let people know you in my space.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm not
I'm
having a good
uncomfortable.
day.
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable. Hey man, look, let's talk it out, right?
Yeah.
And I understand where we at in our neighborhood. Sometimes it's hard, but try to avoid those situations because where you going, where you trying to go, if you do this over here, it's a chance you can't get out. So pay attention big time of your future, because I think Black boys are dying. All of us, not just Black boys, but mostly Black and brown boys, is they stop dreaming. If you can't see your life 5 years ahead of time, it's scary. So
Very
every
scary.
move you make is whatever. I'm whatever. I'm with whatever happened. No, that's not how it go. We've been there, coming from the areas we come from. Like, man, he hit me. Well, I go get your lick back. Getting your lick back could be the last lick you take on the
Yes,
free
sir.
part of on the other side of the bars.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Yes,
So we
sir.
just try to get them to see what the world can be like and how can you contribute to it. Don't get caught up in the 30 seconds for 30 years.
30 seconds for 30 years, man. And it's a lot of young men who made that mistake.
Yes.
All out of not being emotionally stable, not being emotionally intelligent, and making bad decisions based on that. And I'll say this again, I had those issues for a very long
Yes.
time, and it's still there. It rumbles. It rumbles. Like, and I had to talk to myself, like, hey, we no, like, talk to these people, or walk off, and then come back and talk to them once you're calm and you can voice your opinion and how you feel the correct way.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you see the young man out of emotion and out of the group of people that they're around who are also emotionally unintelligent. They make these rash decisions that often lead to the penitentiary or death. And now we're looking at the music, right? So the music is a lot more hyper now. It's a lot more hyper, and a sense of the music is basically just telling people just to kill.
Yeah.
Kill. Don't matter what happened, kill him. Right.
Yeah.
So when you're hearing it, you're like, man, I never heard hip hop be this aggressive and this violent at no point in time. The young men, or the so-called rappers, a lot of these young boys aren't even rappers.
No. It's the easiest part now.
Yeah.
It's the easiest part. I call it, you said it's hyper. I call it low frequency music.
It is.
Because everything is asking you to work from your lower level. And I'm an artist, right?
From your animal instinct. Yeah.
It's from the most animal instinct. And it's a programming. You know what I mean? We know this a programming to say die young. You know what I mean? It's the thing we call it murder music.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the hardest thing is, King, if I can, I don't even get on the youngins as much because somebody's promoting it, because all they can do is rap it, right? If nobody buy, remember when I get this, hip hop is trendy, right? Whatever is working, that's what we doing, right?
Correct.
You remember when I'm 54. So I remember when Kane put the 3 stripes in his eyebrow and we all went out, got 3 eyebrow stripes, right? So I was listening to something, right? And I said, well, if you think about the whole landscape of what our young people are listening to and involved in, right? We saying don't die young. Everything on there is saying die young. It's a soundtrack for young death.
Yes.
The funeral gonna look good, right? They're gonna be on Facebook talking about you, right? You're gonna get thousands of likes, gang, etc. So you got more love in death than you did in life.
Terrible.
Everybody honored you on that day. They gonna make a song about you. So in your lifetime while you was living, nobody applauded you like they applauding you in your death.
And you will be forgotten in 6 months or less.
It will be done. The shrine will be down. The shrine will be down in 3 days. I have a poem called "If This Be My Last Words," and I open up with that. And I say, in 3 days, we got to remove the shrine. And this is the last place we remember you. It's $1,500 on the ground of bottles of Hennessy, Moet, or whatever. The balloon gonna get no air in it. The picture gonna fade. The teddy bear gonna be wet. This is the last place the world see. This is the soundtrack of death. So they're only putting out what they know. But the company is, you understand what I mean?
The people who are in charge of it are saying this is the music that we want you all to hear.
Right. Because it programmed us, right? When we heard Public Enemy, like, oh, whoa, I take this chain off and I got a black medallion on. Right. We had the same thing. It was a balance. It wasn't, you know what I mean? It was not saying go die young.
No.
This dude cracked this joke. He said, man, I was listening to a whole room full of serial killers just now. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
You count the body. So what I try to say to the young brothers, especially in Shy, where I think the term is the drill music,
Yes, sir.
and even here is like family. Really take a look at your life, King. Like really look at your life. Ops. This whole term now, my ops. Like when we become at war so much that we got to start hollering on my ops.
And before it was the ops, we were savages.
I'm a
Remember
savage.
they were calling
I'm a
each other
monster.
savage.
I'm a
Yeah.
goon. You
Demon
goon.
time. We on demon
Demon
time.
time.
And I be telling the young men, I be like, hey, be careful of the words that you use, right? Because you're spelling. And when you spell these words and you put them together, you cast a spell. Those sentences have power.
Yeah.
So when you say it about yourself, you're inflicting, you're telling the universe, the vibration, hey, I want that. This is what I'm looking for.
Give it to me, right?
And it's going to
It's gonna
answer.
come out. It's gonna come out. And King, and something we use a lot of mantras and chants. Just imagine 300, 100 and some black men. I was in Chicago. Shout out to my brothers in the Symbol organization, Gaylord Thomas and several other brothers. It was founded by Gaylord Thomas, but the Symbol organization is safe in my brother's arm, right? And we do a lot of too black, too strong. What time is it? Nation time. Even the chant we do with the young men. They can't leave the room till we do this chant where we go, I will not die young chant. We just have them saying it over and over again. I did a contest where they had a poem they had to write. They thought it was a contest. I was just getting them to put it in the order. You understand what I mean, King? Put it on paper and read this daily. I will not die young because I want my mother to see me succeed. I will not die young because I won't be a statistic. Whether they believed it or not, for 30 minutes, I got them to put that on paper, and I kept that journal. So when I type it up and give it to them, they got to read it. You know what I mean? In your worst time, you got to go, I will not die young. And I pull it back out. Look, this is what you told me.
Yep.
Man, on this, he did this. No, but look what you said. You said you won't die young. This is your mantra, right? So it's so trendy. Remember a while back when Jay did the 444 album, right? All powerful, telling album, at least in my opinion, other than when Pac did Me Against the World, right? If Jay album wins an award for that, if that album wins an award, right, it's got to be a shift in the music business now, right? Because now telling the truth, being vulnerable, being open, talking and being honest about what you did, that changed the game.
How you hurt your wife, knowing that
you didn't want to,
knowing you didn't want to lose her, but you had messed up to the point where she was on her way out the door.
Right. And you had to come and be vulnerable and be honest, take some of the misogyny out of it. Yep. That was a classic album. If that album wins, that's a shift in the industry. Because now you got to go buy that, like the time when Kanye hit us. Oh, nobody want to hear that no more. This is what we want to hear. Like when we heard the Public Enemies in the Lorient. I'm not saying we got to be preached to, but
no, we don't have to
that
be
music comes out, it changes everything.
Correct.
And the industry does not want our people to be going, you know what? What's up, King? You don't want me acknowledging you as king. You don't want me being vulnerable, being emotional, aware. Because if we do that, then black boys ain't going to jail. And if black boys ain't going to jail, you got to close prisons.
You got to close.
And if you close prison, somebody gonna lose a job. And psychologists and the pill medicine people and
all them white boys in them corn-fed towns, they lose their jobs.
They lose their jobs.
Now they ain't no more security officers.
No,
and that's the thing, bro. I tell the young man when I'm talking to him all the time. I said, you only seconds away for giving somebody a job. And they go, what do you mean? I tell them, you make a bad decision, you end up in jail. You are worth $60,000 to the prison industry.
Come on.
You're worth $60,000 or more.
Come on.
And every time one of y'all go in there, someone else gets hired. You help someone else get a job.
Come on.
Stop employing the prisons.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
I keep telling them it's a setup. I tell them hip hop ain't what it used to be or what it started out as. They have literally given the music over to another body and group of people and told them, don't let them put out that type of music.
That's rebellious music. You can't have that.
We don't want them to know that they're supposed to grow their hair out. We don't want them to know that their hair is actually antennas that link them to the universe, and they actually that's how they actually are in tune with themselves in the universe and what they're supposed to actually do. We don't want them to know that. We don't want them to know that it wasn't called dreadlocks. It was originally called locks.
Come on, King.
We don't want them to know that.
Teach.
We don't want them to know that it was called dreadlocks because Italian people went over there, and when they couldn't conquer Ethiopia, they called it the dreaded locks.
That's right.
We don't want them to know that.
That's right. That's right, King. Say
We don't
less.
want them to know all this great dope stuff that they did. We don't want them to know any of that. We want them to think that they are killers and drug dealers and they are entertainers. And as long as they feel that they are entertainers, they won't rise to their highest potential and their higher selves. They'll
Mm-hmm.
always be animals and they'll always think of themselves as animals. They'll call each
Mm-hmm.
other killers, dope
Murders.
dealers,
Yep.
hustlers, murderers, savages, and they'll be on demon time. And that's what
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah. You have to change the language. Our goal is our job, King, is to change that language.
Change the language, man. Change the vibration. I try to do it all the time. And I tell the
Mm-hmm.
young men, I said, man, I wish y'all could have seen me in my teens and in my 20s doing the stuff that y'all was doing. I said, y'all
Mm-hmm.
just have more access to the foolery than I did.
That's it.
For us, there was a discipline. It started out from a conversation going wrong to us throwing
Mm-hmm.
hands.
Mm-hmm.
And usually after we threw hands, that was when it was over.
Right.
It
They
only
have
got into
access.
something very negative when it couldn't just get solved and somebody had went over the tipping point.
It's the access. Because how old are you, King? You don't mind me asking.
42.
Okay, so I'm 54. We up in there.
Yeah.
We up in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, like, the last time your generation, we probably the last ones that grew up in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's why it was a little easier to even our aggression. If somebody can grab you and be like, "Come on, man, not here." You know, Miss Johnson, elders. It was a community. Now you probably people live in the neighborhood for maybe 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
It's very transient. Everybody coming in and out. So there's
Yeah.
not a loyalty to that neighborhood. You know what I mean? They may holler it, but they don't necessarily live in that area. So the hardest thing now to that statement when you say we a fight and then come back is because we didn't really turn to tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's 18th Street. We don't go over there.
Yeah.
And that's this. And most kids don't even, especially in Chicago, if I'm right, the closing of so many schools, a lot of cats don't go to school in their neighborhood. And you're not leaving your neighborhood, especially in the times we live in. I went to Marshall High School in Chicago, right? I live on Springfield. I live on Springfield and Van Bruin.
Okay.
To get to Marshall, I got to go to Jackson Street. Where I live is Foles. I got to walk from Jackson. If we walk, I got to walk from Jackson to Central Park.
Mm-hmm.
Central Park is a part of it, but depending on the weekend and whatever happened, they might be into it with us. So we can be cool. But now we got to go from Central Park to Holman. On one side is unknowns, on the other side is so depending on what it could go. I could be cool with them today, and they let it's what it is. Or it could be a war going on.
Yeah.
We get around the corner. When I finally get to the steps of Marshalls, they're GDs and disciples.
Yeah.
So I got to get through them to get in the building.
Yeah.
And we get in the building. If you live in my neighborhood on Pulaski, nobody is staying after 8th period. We all like, hey, we got to go to it. Like, look, he can't stay here after the 8th period because he got to go home with us. We all got to walk home together.
That's a fact.
And if it was like that in my time, I can only imagine what it's like now, where you say, so you got to almost applaud a kid just for getting to school these days.
That's
because if I had to walk through that, I can only imagine what they got to walk through.
Yeah,
so you got if he get through the door, he might smell like marijuana. His eyes might be low, but hell, he need to applaud for getting in the building. We can work from that point on.
Yeah.
But I just need you in the building. If he in the building, we can pull some magic together. You understand?
It's crazy to speak on that. We went from organizations to factions and tribes. Yeah, no leadership. And oftentimes you hear how the federal government they say, all you gotta do is cut the head off the snake and the body will just wiggle and wither until it dies.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we're facing right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's very sad to see, man. I often like to not to just continue to harp on it, but I often tell the young men, be aware of the music that you're listening to and the things that you're saying toward people. Always be aware of the music, because the music that you listen to and that you like, it isn't your life. It's someone else telling their life story. And in certain versions of the music that you listen to, a lot of these guys that's wearing these chains and they got these guns, that's not their life either.
Yeah.
It's an image. An image consultant has been bought in to make these guys look like that. And the one moment you run up on that guy and it's just you and him, and he can't give you an autograph and you want to slap him, you can probably slap him and get away with it because certain ones of them ain't that.
Yeah, yeah. It's the promotion and image. You're
Because
absolutely
it's the
right.
promotion of the image of being a gangster and being tough and all this craziness that goes along with it. And I often wonder, I ask them from time to time, what music do you all have that promotes love? Like who the people that you all have in music that promotes love? Where's the R&B? Because now they're trying to throw R&B and hip hop together now. How do you guys separate it?
You know, the other thing, King, is that there is no one is going to promote black men as human. It's not safe to promote us as humans. It's because if you promote us as humans, then you have to treat us as humans. And you don't shoot humans in the back. You don't put your knee on humans' neck. You understand what I mean? You don't rape other human beings. You don't chattel slavery other human beings. So if you take, it's this book called Brainwashed. If you get a chance, anybody listening, check it out. In Brainwashed, she said, it wasn't the fact that they took us off the boat. This is to what you say with the image. It wasn't to the fact they took us off the boat doing slavery. It's the fact that when we got off the boat smelled like God knows what. We've been all right. Our hair was all over the place. Our shackles was on, arms and limbs cut off, women with their breasts out. They didn't see humans, they saw animals. They dehumanized us that day. Yeah. That was the greatest marketing ever. Because after that, all they ever saw us was as animals. Yeah. So the best way to exterminate us, and I do say that, is to promote the image of what they're promoting now. We don't take care of our children as black men.
Which is false. We definitely take care of our children.
Black boys are not reading, which they are. We are not graduating, right? We are patriarchal. You know, it's our way or no way in the household. The sexual proudness, right? We objectify all of that. So this is what's promoted, right? And Spike Lee, Malcolm, Denzel, for all the work he did, he got an award for Training Day, right? Woo! He didn't get an award for Malcolm, right?
He didn't get an award for Malcolm X or Hurricane Carter. He got an award for Training Day, being a negative person.
Right. The last several movies that won awards about black people are from slavery point of view.
Yep.
The ones that we show with so you can't honor that. You have to honor the other because the system is doing exactly what it's doing. If I show this image enough, this is what we believe. So if young boys see this enough, this is what's over and over again, right? This is how you look. This is what's happening. You'll start believing that this is what I'm supposed to be.
It's in the music. It's in the TV. It's in the neighborhood.
This is the neighbor. I'm supposed to pop pills. I'm supposed to run into a car. I'm supposed to do all of that. So that's what they're promoting. Our fight is to a young man. My conversation with them is to say, when this happens, they're not telling the other side. When they say, I shot up the block, that they talk about the little girl that was shot, why they shot up the block. If I say I was selling more keys than anybody, do you talk about the destruction that was done? So you understand what I mean? Let's make it fair and balanced. Remember when your man Jesus used to say, I keep the rest of the keys in my auntie house. Well, did you tell about the story when they ran and took your auntie house that she'd been working for 30 years? They took everything. So we're not saying that. If a rapper says I'm telling the truth, okay, well, I need you, I'll put life on it. Come into this classroom with me and tell me what you're saying is not affecting the outcome of what our young men are going with. So they are going to promote the image. It's up to us. They're not going to promote love music. They don't want soul music. Soul music had James Brown in it, right? Hip hop had James Brown in it. That was the sample. That's defiant music. You bobbing your head. There's not a sample of James Brown anywhere in hip hop music. No Roger Troutman, no Zapp, no Earth, Wind and Fire, none of that. That's what we grew up on.
No Isley Brothers, none of it.
None of it. No, because that's connecting us to who we were. That's why we were able to listen to our parents when it got thick, because if they heard us playing that, it tunes in. Now we can have a conversation. They moved all that out. Here we are in love music, right? It's great R&B, but they're not putting that on because Tank said it on that interview. Nobody cares about a black man's love. They don't want to see us love. They would rather see us hate. So whatever music we can sell, whatever fights we can sell to show the worst of who we are, that's what we gonna do. We're not gonna show that this guy, what's the brother name from Chicago now? He sing like Marvin Gaye. I, I can't. August,
Yeah.
London, October London. His
Okay.
brother,
Okay.
October London.
Okay.
October London is making great music. Eric Roberson, they all make great music. Anthony Hamilton makes great music, but it's not that brothers don't want to hear it. It's put down on the radio. That's not what we want to play.
That's
They're
not
not
what we
going to
want to
play
play.
that. Right?
And for just to speak on that a little bit further, a black man's love is the strongest love in the
Of
world.
course. Of
It's
course.
always been the strongest
Of
love
course.
because a black man's love provides protection, security, and a confidence that no one else can give you. And they know that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not, well, again, King, what we dealing with when you asked about education, when we asked about the images, if we say that and we show that, that's a change now, right? We have to find, this is what I believe we definitely have to do. We have to find a way, as yours, applaud you for your platform.
Appreciate it.
Platforms like this to be global, to show the best of who we are and own it. Because when you own this content that you have, we got to make this popular. We got to put this out like they put the most committed wins, right? So if they go in the studio and make some nonsense, or they put this show on TV to show the worst who we are, then we got to go put 4 good shows on to show the best who we are.
Yep.
We might not get to the mainstream, but right here, this content we created, we have to continually put this type of content out, create
Be in
these
repetition.
Stories,
yes, sir.
these books, these conversations, because yeah, we might not be on television, but at the same time,
but I'm here and I'm doing the work.
There you go.
And as long as I'm doing the work, I know that I'm doing the right thing. And I know eventually I will reach the people that I'm supposed to reach. I don't have to reach everybody. I just have to reach the people I'm supposed to.
That's fair. As long as we hit them. As he said, if ignorance is loud, this is a quote I use. If ignorance is loud, freedom has to be twice as loud. You have freedom. So we got to get as much. I tell my squad, anytime we do something good with young people, anytime we working, showing, show it off. They put money in their ear, put your book up on your ear, right? Yeah. They show about what they took, show about what we gave. They show about how it's falling, let's show how we build it. We have to, and we got to go tit for tat. You understand? When they put down the RIP so-and-so, okay, let's show them how many young men are alive today. Yep. Because a young boy gonna see this and he got it. This would be the faith that he needs to see, like, oh shit, it's possible. Yep. You can go through all this they went through, from the south side to the east side and west side of Chicago to Harlem, all of that. We have to make living long look good again. Because dying young, they're making it look so pretty. They're making prison
and standing for something too.
Yeah, we got to. We have to. I think all that ties in, because if you live long, you're gonna stand for something. A young man gets through what we go through, he gonna stand for something, because me and you got through that. So that's why we going back and getting somebody.
Have to. And that's one of the things I always said, if I made it this far, I made it this far for a reason. Being involved in different programs, and sometimes it ain't even just the programs. Sometimes it's just being on a bus or being on a train and being around these young guys and seeing the way they're acting. And then you ask them, what makes you want to do that? Or you think that's cool? How long you think you're going to be around doing that? And they start looking at me, and the conversation turns. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes
it don't.
Sometimes they're upset and they're emotional. But what I learned from dealing with the young men and the young women, they always want someone to talk to, and they always want to be led properly. It's just that no one is really doing it, and some people don't have the time, and some people just won't take the time to talk to them.
Yeah, they say it's not my child.
Yeah,
it's our favorite. It's not my child. These kids out of order. They not listening.
And to that, I say you shouldn't say anything about the children if you're not going to do nothing to be involved and help them.
No taxation. Hey, no taxation, no representation.
There it is.
You can't speak. We just did I do Real Men, Real Talk, and we were sitting in a circle, and one of I don't say everything because it is confidential, but there was a conversation of I'm telling her what to do and she not listening, and I told her to get over it and suck it up. The conversation was healing in your own time, right? One of the young men that were in there, well, not young men, but one of the brothers, about y'all about the same age, he got triggered and he said, the very thing you saying to me is the same thing. I mean, same thing you saying your daughter is the same thing my father said to my sister.
Wow.
Suck it up. And that's why she has some of the moments she had, right? Um, I think too, King, with all the trauma we go through as Black men, as Black people, period, with all the trauma we've been through, sometimes it's overwhelming when we see, like, damn, can they get out? I can be honest, in my classroom work and my travels, I have looked at some young people and been like, man, I don't know if he gonna make it out of it. You know what I mean? I have to, like, I do a real assessment. Like, I look at the family, I look at his belief system, I look at so-and-so. I'm gonna give them everything I got. Anytime I was in the classroom, when I taught in the classroom legitimately, I later on left and do what I do now, spoken word and motivational speaking. But when I was in the classroom, I would tell them, I cannot control what goes on at your house. I
Mm-hmm.
have little to do about who is and who isn't. But I said, if you do this, if you walk through this door, I'll provide these things. I'll provide protection. If you need clothing, I'll get a little clothing. If you need food, I'll do all of that. But you got to give me something back. You got to give me your full attention here. I cannot, when you go home, I can't go home with you, nor can I take you home with me. But if you stay here and you give me everything you got, I promise we going to get something out of everything, every inch of this class, from reading to, because King, I'm going to be honest, I did more of their social awareness and social emotional learning than I would do with their math, science, and social studies. Because
Okay.
I really believe that if I take care of your lower needs, as I say on the Maslow's hierarchy, if I take care of your most basic safety, your food, hunger, um, feel good, affirmation, and a safety place, everything else gonna fall. You're gonna want to read. You're gonna want to participate because we're gonna make this love. This is gonna be fun. I've always thought education should be engaging. So that's what I've always tried to do in anything I do. And that way, when you do leave this room and you got to go back to that drama, one thing I believe we know that this is temporary. I can get out of these circumstances. This is not always going to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
I can see past this. This is momentarily. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Because some of us in those circumstances, when you're in a classroom and you've been told you ain't gonna make it, and you got family members, your vision of what you can be is so like, I don't care. I'm not gonna get out of this. So you are external, but when we instill it in our youngest age and we get the belief, they won't worry about the outside world. They paying attention to the inside world. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here. I'm on the low end. I'm on the west side. I'm in the trenches, but I ain't gonna stay here. I ain't gotta stay
Right.
here.
And now they're looking at you as a point of reference to say,
Point of
well,
reference.
if they
It's
did it,
possible.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
possible. The magic word I say, this is why I ask as many brothers and sisters to come back to the school. You don't have to have a professional, you don't have to have a degree, they just need to see how I got out. They want to see the average everyday man. Like, what do you do, man? I drive the bus. They applaud that because you can, hey, all they need to know is it's possible. They just need to see it's possible because everybody else is reminding them it's not. And if you ain't hustling, you ain't gonna make it. You ain't got no jump shots, you ain't gonna make it. If you're a girl, if you ain't pretty, you ain't gonna make it. If you ain't got no slick tongue, no, man. No, take all of that. If you survive where we come from, I just think, man, we so resilient that, like, I'd be like, it's okay. This scar is a stripe. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And they going through so much that if they get through it, when they get what we've went through, that's why we laugh. I'm quite sure you've had these moments where you like, man, that ain't nothing. You know what I've been through to get to this point? Please.
I laugh it off, bro. I laugh
Like,
off a lot of the stuff that, like, when people say, man, I can't do this, or I'm tired of or this, I be laughing like, bro, if you knew what it took to just to make it to this age, man.
save it. I'm all right, King. You can't. That's all. You almost, my brother Muhib, as I say, one of the phenomenal poets. He got a poem where he says, "Is that all you got?" You know what I mean? Like, that's it.
Hey,
That's
that was gonna be something similar was gonna be the tattoo that I was gonna get. It was gonna be crocodile skin being peeled out from under the flesh that I have. And it was
mm,
gonna say, to survive this world, you have to have thick skin. You know what I
mm,
mean? And that was gonna be the tattoo that I was gonna get. And what people don't understand is they ask me oftentimes, like, why are you so calm when things are happening? I say, because I don't know to panic. Like panic doesn't resonate with me. I've been through very terrible things that my mom had to go through, my sisters and myself that we had to go through. So when you talk about panic, I don't know panic. All I know is how to be resilient, figure out a way to get through it, and then get to the other side and be focused on that. I don't worry about the things that anybody else may say or say they're gonna do. If you don't put my life in danger or my family's life in danger, I'm gonna leave you alone.
Right. That's right.
Right. But I'm gonna
Right.
focus on the things that I need to focus on to get to where I'm going.
That's
And
it,
and
King.
when I look at some of the people who are panicking and they're frazzled or they're thrown off by everything, it's like, man, you must not have been through nothing, man.
No, no. Well, that's the, like I said, man, that's the beauty of our people. If you take everything you've been through, if it don't break you, it's gonna make you. I'm a firm believer. If it don't break you, and that's a hard statement, but it's the truest I know. If it did break you, it's gonna make you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? The very things that came to destroy you, if you face them, and it's hard, but if you face them, if you can face them, you can look it in the face and say, come on, I'm gonna walk through it. You're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You,
And then
you
you
gonna
come out on the
be
other
good.
side and say, oh, I just got a scar. Okay, cool.
That's all I got.
That was it.
That's all it was, a scar.
Now I move on to the next phase of this thing.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
And it's very simple. And I tell the young man, I said, whatever it is you want to do in life, nothing that you really want to do is going to be given to you or it's going to be easy. You're going to have to work for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Faith
Mm-hmm.
without hustle, it just it ain't happening, man.
It
You
don't
got to
happen.
have some hustle.
It don't happen. It's almost what you say, oxymoronic. It don't add up. It's
It
not gonna.
don't. It don't. I think the law was the first law of alchemy is you can't get something for nothing. You can't make gold out of thin air. You have to
That's
give
right.
something for
That's
you to
right,
get
King.
that gold out of that. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's all about the work that you put in and sticking to it and going through, like dealing with whatever comes with it, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And some to a certain degree, you have to be maniacal in your belief,
Oh, quick.
you know.
Okay, okay. I mean, think of our ancestors. You know what I mean? You you
Ah,
you take them and you say, somebody being abused, being shackled, and they still in their mind say one day we gonna be free. We talking about it now, right? But you're talking about a bunch of people shackled and chained, and um, they still a
having their
woman.
spirits broken, having their
Right. I'm
kids
gonna
taken away
go.
from them.
Right. You're gonna watch somebody get hung, and you go, we gonna be all right. I'm still, we gonna get free. You gotta She gotta love her husband even when he been when they tried to take his manhood and make him
Mm,
feel lesser, she still gotta love him. You gotta love your wife knowing that Mr. may try to rape her. You gotta raise your daughter knowing that one day Master gonna try to come in here. And they still was like, I'm resilient. You understand what I mean? So uh if they if that, but King, you go back to the earlier question you had about when you asked me about how do we get young men to see? That's another thing, reconnecting to our culture. You know what I'm saying? It's not, it ain't cool to be black no more. You understand what I mean? Okay, once upon a time it was cool to be, it's not cool to be black, meaning that aware, understanding, and speaking who you are. You can talk about it, but it's not cool to be black. It was cool to be black. And that's pride. People that have pride amongst each other don't kill each other. I
mm,
see you and I see me. So if I see you like you see me, you're not gonna do that to me. Because I know you got a grandmother at home, and so do I. And you got a daughter at home. And that ain't my nigga. That's you understand what I
yeah.
mean? That
And the
ain't some
best
VIP.
best representation of me is you.
That's right. So I can see that. But when you remove and say, your lips are ugly, your hair is this, uh, you a thug, etc., etc., etc. If you listen to that narrative over and over again and you have no other reference point, what do you become? What do you become? But if we tell the story of our ancestors, and I don't do it in a preachy way. I'm going to make it, and I have to say this, I got to make it as fun and as exciting as possible because I have to bring that same energy to it. I never did when I was in the classroom. It was never boring. It was always they enter the door with a drum playing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They if I do my poetry night was always loud. You know, it was at the same energy of hip hop because I know what I'm going against. So I bring that same energy. No, I didn't have a djembe in there, but I did have my drummer play Jay-Z. And then slowly but surely, hey, bring your djembe, you know, and they playing it. And now they bobbing it. You know, we can't give our people the medicine straight. You know, it's just you know, you got they've been drinking dirty water, as the minister said, you know. You got to, when people been drinking dirty water for so long, you give them clean water, they'll pass out.
And they won't know what it is. It's like, what's that, man? I don't want that.
You'll pass out. So you got to, okay, here, stir it up as our grandmother did. You know what I'm saying? So as you stated, we have to stay connected to our culture, and being in the neighborhoods that we live in with gentrification, with the closing of schools, with the moving of old neighborhoods, that's a killing of history. You're not connected anymore. Those neighborhood had memories. That's why you would say, well, you're not going to go down there and hustle in front of so-and-so because that's Miss Johnson. Miss Johnson was friends with your grandmother. They came from down south together. So therefore, that's a connection. And when you listen to them, they're going to tell you the stories. But when you're constantly moving them out and you building things that have no relevance to it, so a kid don't care about robbing Starbucks. Don't mean nothing. That ain't, I'm just saying that don't mean nothing to me. I don't care about writing on this wall. That don't mean nothing to me. But when we vested, when we vested, that changed the whole conversation.
Yeah.
Because you know why it might not get robbed? Because it's probably going to employ somebody over there. And I ain't going to employ somebody over there. That changed the mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That changed the mind. The person who do that now in the community was a dope boy. He employing everybody. He's spreading out love to everybody. So everybody gonna tell on him, right? Ain't nobody gonna harm him. We giving out love over here, right? He's sending here once upon a time, right? And I'm not justifying, but that's what all it is just the same skill. So if I'm in a classroom, I'm working. If I'm in the school and I'm working with young men, I just did a group and they all came back to do this interview with me. So when they came back, you know what I did? I gave each one of them $15. They go lunch, right? Oh, you didn't have to? No, I didn't. But I wanted to show them, you understand, living right is good too. Here, go get that $15. That ain't nothing for them to go brag about, but they can't never say that somebody didn't. You understand what I mean? I didn't buy you no gym shoes, but I showed you I care about your well-being. And he said, well, why'd you get
Oh, he went out on me. All right, there you go.
You should be compensated. I just wanted to show the young men they need to be compensated for their time.
Okay.
You know, and that's a part of life. You are compensated for your time. When you go to school to get a degree, there's a certain amount of many hours, right? You have to have to get a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, to get a master's. If you're an athlete, a certain amount of hours you have to put in. Anybody with success has to put hours. So when the young men came back, I told them, man, I compensated you for your time. You came and did an interview for me. You could have said no, but you did. I offered it a number. 5 of you came. So here, I'm paying you for your time. I'm a hope that resonates so they can take that and do something with it with themselves.
And it makes them curious enough to come back again.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, ain't that's the block?
That's
that's all the block did.
I gotta give you a sample. I gotta give you a sample.
Yeah, it's instantaneous. The block, the streets, the block is instantaneous. There's no waiting to next week. I need it today. Here
right
you
now.
go. Give it to me. Everything is that. So why we can't turn that? Now, don't get me wrong. There has to be some delayed gratification. I understand it, but there are some things right away. Hey, you did good. You caught them doing good. Hey, man, look, I know you didn't want to read in front of everybody, but you got up and did it, King. Let's give them a round of applause.
Yep.
Let's give them a round of applause. The next person can't wait. Yeah, I want. Oh man, that was so dope. Let me put you on social media and show the world what you just did. Why would you do that, man? I got 5,000 friends. You understand what I mean?
Right.
We giving them light for something else. So now that's contagious. That other boys like, hey, I want to read. All right, well, if y'all feel that way, next week we're gonna have a group read. Let's all get down there and see what you do. Did you read it? Yeah, we all read it. Let's talk about it. It may not have nothing to do with English class. We just having a conversation. But by the time we done, we gonna have English class in here. Yes. Right now, we just doing it because our kids are resilient. Hip hop is the most resilient art form ever. That's a dissertation. Nas that's a dissertation, man. In 21 lines, that's a whole dissertation. And we all fail English class, but we giving out these dissertations with all the words, similes, metaphors, implied metaphors, all the language they say. These guys all dropped out of high school and they still able to articulate the struggle like never before.
Mm.
Come on, man. You at its best, you can't teach what they offering. You
Right.
understand what I
Using
mean?
personifications and all
Come on,
that.
man.
You know,
Stop.
double entendres and
Come on.
everything.
Come on, man. And you just threw this together. You ain't go to class for this? No. No, you can't. No, I ain't go to class for this. I sat at home and I learned, I read these books. So give me something for it, man. So our boys are brilliant. Our young people are brilliant, man. We just have to we're gonna have to be unique, but we have to find ways to show them Black is beautiful.
Yeah.
Education is worth it.
Like you said, we have to go back to being creative with it. You can't just give them a curriculum and expect them to
No,
learn. A lot of
no,
them can't learn like that. Like
no.
there are certain age students who can just learn like that because because you go on by the book because they're book smart. But
Mm-hmm.
there are the other ones who have to be creative. You have to be
Yeah,
creative with them and figure out different ways for them to learn. And it may
yeah,
take them a little bit of time.
yeah, yeah,
There's nothing
yeah.
wrong with them at all.
No,
Your
no.
poetry, your
Mm-hmm.
poetry.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever expect your poetry to be something so of note that it would travel the lengths that it has?
Okay. Yes and no.
Okay.
The no was because I didn't know an environment to grow in. I didn't think there was a place for me in doing that. You
Okay.
understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until a poet came to our school. And I remember like, damn, I think I can do that. I started reading Langston Hughes and different things. But when I moved to Milwaukee and I met the poets down here and we created this open mic and 100 people showed up for the open mic. First time they ever had 100 some people. And I remember like saying, we got something. Like, we got something. I don't know exactly what it is. And I said, if we do it right, this poetry will rival what Def Jam is. So every week, I had the Poetry Unplugged said every week on a Tuesday night, I average no less than 150 people for poetry night, for spoken word.
Mm.
And they showed up, King, in line. And when it came time to get the first ever Black mayor in the city of Milwaukee, the first time we used spoken word to get people out. When it came to organize against violence, we used spoken word. So each time we did that, I've seen it could be what it is. Now, if I can be honest, now why I say no, because I was a Black boy on the West Side, and didn't think, I didn't think I'd make it to 21 years. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I
Right.
didn't think I'd get it, make it out to get that world out. You know what I mean? So I believed in what I did. I just didn't think that I would get past, you see it. My father got killed when I was a boy. My grandfather died young. A lot of men in my family died young, and a lot of people I know. So you understand what I mean? What would
Yeah.
make me so exceptional that I would get out?
Yeah. And the poetry is one of those things where people are doing it, but you're not hearing a lot about it unless the poets are being invited to come to studios and be a part of a
Mm-hmm.
rapper's album or
Mm-hmm.
R&B singer's album or a jazz album or something like that. But the spirit of poetry is always something that I've appreciated
Thank you.
and connected and love to connect to because it's someone telling you how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be
Mm-hmm.
about a pen, it could be about a microphone, it could be about their daily life, it could be about the struggles of being a Black man or a Black woman. But
Mm-hmm.
when you're listening to that, that's their opinion or that's their
Mm-hmm.
truth
Mm-hmm.
being spoken into life, and
Mm-hmm.
they're able to say it. So I've always appreciated it, man. Even with me being doing music on a hip hop side, when I do it, sometimes it's just lyrical, or sometimes you may have to sit there and go, "Oh, he talking for real today." That
Right.
that song is for real.
Right.
I just may do it a lyrical way, but
Mm-hmm.
when you hear the words that are playing, you know that oh
Mm-hmm.
he being serious right now.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful art form.
Oh man, without a question. And for me, if I can expound on it a little bit, King, I think also we have to make it, with our people, man, we have to make it attractive. It's just that
Mm,
simple. Because, the connotation becomes behind poetry is, finger snapping,
yeah,
and
yeah.
the incense and,
Incense and stuff, the little
yeah,
caps on
and
and the black
right, right.
sweaters.
And
Yeah.
they cool, they kind of, I'm just saying corny, I don't know, but if I listen to Nas and I hear one mic, I'm writing like that. I'm writing about the environment I'm in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking about the nighttime on the west side of Chicago. I'm talking about the things that I see. So I'm not just going to write something to for the sake of writing. They got to have some meaning to it. So I'm gonna listen to Jay. I'm gonna listen to Coltrane, but at the same time, I'm capturing that same energy in the poetry, in the spoken word we do in some of my crew. Uh, I'm not an MC by no means, but my content and my delivery is that of an MC, the hunger
Mm-hmm.
of. So I just say to all my poets and artists, man, remember what we up against. You understand what I mean? Like we made poetry look cool, right? Because I remember we came to the set and they was like, "Who is these?" I got a Nike sweatsuit on, and some air. This is the early days, a Nike sweatsuit on and the headband, and
Right.
I
On some
came out
regular
to
shit.
Nas. I'm
Yeah.
throw your hands in the air. You know what I mean? I ain't no sitting down. And I'm going right to the crowd. I'm tongue twisting just like I'm doing a concert like that, but I'm still doing spoken word. It's similar to like we saw Tiny Desk with Scarface, right?
Oh,
If
that
you
was fire. That was
right.
fire.
So usually he got his beat behind him, right? Now he just intimate setting. So he went from rapping to doing spoken word because that's all that was.
That's
I'm
all it
just
was.
saying it's a spoken word set.
Yes, sir.
He took the beats and he lowered down on my block. It's the same thing. If I'm the same way. So you just have to, give that energy to it, man. They was playing music like this, and then Beethoven dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun 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 dun. So that was the first part of hip hop when he put that in there. You know what I mean? And here come the brothers from the cotton field singing XYZ. They rhyming and they can work like that. So now it's a freedom song. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
anything, as long as you add energy, they add a certain energy, as you said. They go on demon. So man, we go God. You know what I'm saying? Add the energy to it, it changes the whole information, the delivery of the information.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Now, we were speaking earlier before I think we started this. You were speaking on a book that you were
Mm-hmm.
working on or that's coming out. Tell me more
I,
about that.
I have two books out, three, but I Write What I See was my very first book. I Write
Okay.
What I See. This one near dear to my heart, Sense of the War Songs for Black and Brown Boys.
Mm,
That's me and my dad on the cover. Sense of the War Songs for Black and Brown Boys. The novel, the new poetry book I'm writing is called Dear Black Boy. It's an anthology. Every poem is directed to Dear Black Boy. That's what it says in there. But the novel I'm working on is called 1984. And that's me in my days of Chicago on the West Side. That's I call it the last days of innocence. At the
mm,
beginning, it's 12 to 14 on the porch. By the time I go to my sophomore year of high school, I'm the last one on the porch.
mm.
So I tell that story, of that. I'm actually coming home to Chicago to sit with my guys, just to it's autobiography, but it's not, just to tell our story, man. 40 years ago this time, I was living in California. I was living in Porterville, California. That's crazy, Porterville. But it was because King, and I get a little emotional. I said I was wilding so hard on my last days on the West Side when I was in 8th grade. My grandmother was like, you can't stay here.
Wow.
You gotta go. She not like put me out, but she's like, no. So she called my uncle, and my uncle came and got me. I mean, I flew out there and I lived in Cali for a year. And let me say this, that year, that being away from the hood for that year saved my life.
Mm,
I stay in Chicago. We not having this conversation. I would have probably had a good 3-year run. I'd had a 3-year run at best, maybe. I probably would have I would even go as far to say I would have been in and out if nobody hadn't killed me or I killed somebody. I would have been in and out because you got to remember I'm in the heat of it. This is the early 80s. This is when it's at its height.
the height,
You know,
yeah. That
it's
that
at
real
its height.
that terror era.
Yeah, you're right. My father was who he was. I'm off Pulaski. You familiar with that? You
Yes,
know,
sir.
so we with it, and I'm with it. I'm hoping to be one of them. And matter of fact, the night before my grandmother talked to me, I got shot at, and I should have been dead that day. The guy, for whatever reason, his gun jammed, and my friend pushed me out the way, and the bullet hit him. But
Mm.
she didn't know that, you know. And but when she found out, I played the innocent. Oh, I wasn't doing nothing, but people who was around me knew
You know what
what
was
we was
going on.
doing.
Yeah.
And how do I know? Because my best friend is dead. Um, the guy who was with me is dead. The guy who I hung out with is in jail forever. And my last friend is somewhere on the west side, probably strung out. I'm not sure. But that was my 4 crew I hung with all summer long. So what do that tell you? What do that tell you? God, without saying their names, he's dead. So and so is dead. What's name is in jail forever, and my other buddy got strung out. So that tell
Ain't it
you,
crazy? Ain't it crazy how that happened? You would lose
yeah,
all your friends to death or the penitentiary, and it'd just be you by yourself, or with us with the same similar crew, but just the small group of guys.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. And if again you ask, if it wasn't, how do I maintain the poetry? If I didn't have my art and my writing, I was able to leave my neighborhood because I could write.
yeah,
I was able to survive through the nonsense because I could write. I was able to articulate what I felt, even though people around me didn't get it, but I was able to express it. You know what I mean?
okay,
So that's another, it helped me stay alive. And because my talent, my art saved my life. You know what I mean? So and it's also therapeutic. It's very cathartic. You know what I mean? I think, we both got that story as Black men, right? So we still need therapy. You know what I mean? We still sit with our back to the door, We
that's a
still
fact.
watch what we do. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You still can be clean as all outdoors, but when the police come, you still look in your mirror. You
yeah,
still checking to make sure everything okay.
or
You
staring them
still,
down.
right, you still and you dealing with all this. You still get money and you still, okay, all that stuff
Let me
still.
tuck this
So
over here. Let me put this
it
over
be
here, man.
all
I
that,
don't.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And you deal with all that. You deal with the fear of your child getting back into the life that you escaped so you can be overprotective. You deal with this world of supremacy. You deal with the people you care about not raising their bar. You deal with all of this. So even when we get out, we still in mentally, spiritually, and damn near physically, because
yeah,
it's so magnetic. So we got to have something to write, to love, you got to have something. You have to have an outlet. If you don't, you keep it in.
yeah.
And
And
most
there's
of
a
our
lot of
friends,
scar. There's a lot of scarring
oh,
from going through that. You know.
yeah, it's trauma.
Yeah,
You go and
yeah,
we have heart attacks, we have strokes, we have high blood pressure. We have all of that because you dealt with all of that. Or let me say this, you didn't deal with it. You just you smoke, right?
yeah, yeah,
Drink, chase women, whatever it is, I don't want to deal with it. So my poetry, as you ask, it gives me an opportunity to express myself. And it also is a healing factor because I get to work with other brothers and use that tool just to, hey man, write down what you want to say. Just
yeah,
write it down and read it. And they'd start developing to we change the narrative. Cats want to write now. They want to do, they want to journal. You know what I mean? So it's okay. That's why the book is called Sensitive War Songs for Black and Brown Boys. Haki Mabuti in Chicago, my favorite poet of all time, says that Black men have to be sensitive warriors. We have to be sensitive warriors. We have to know to be, and it's hard to find a balance to be sensitive, but we have to have it. And then we have to have a warrior that
So we were talking about being what you say, emotionally sensitive, or what was it?
sensitive war songs for Black and brown boys.
Okay.
Black men have to be sensitive warriors.
Sensitive
They have to be
warriors.
sensitive enough to deal with our families, our women, our loved ones. And we have to have a warrior aspect to be able to protect ourselves, take care of ourselves, and take care of others.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That sounds like it's gonna be, I need to pick that one up. That sounds like one that I need to
Oh man, please do.
have on my
You
shelf.
can download the book. You can download the book anytime. But if you, I'm the physical copy I print on demand. Like if a school wants a large order, that's usually when I do it. But I only have a few of the physical copies left.
Okay. I'm more of a physical copy type of dude.
I
So
figured
yeah,
that's all good. I figured
yeah.
that.
I'm old school, man. You can't be mad at me for that, bro. Hey, I'm spending the money, man. That's all that matters. I love the physical copy. It's something about just having that book and being able to see the words myself. It's a beautiful thing.
I appreciate that too, King. And I moved in here so you can hear me. My apologies. I just because
No, you
that room,
good?
that office, sometimes it will do that. But yeah, a lot of people want the book physically. A lot of people want the book physically. So I'm cool with that, King. I can work on it.
Yes, sir.
Actually, when I print the new book, I'm going to whenever I print the new book, I always print a certain amount because I'm self-published. I don't have a publisher.
Okay.
Um, and I'm okay with that. I like, that's the West Side of me. I think I can handle my product better than anybody else.
Hey, man,
You
you'll
know.
figure out a way to hustle it. You'll figure out a way to get it done. I feel the same
Yes,
way
sir.
about mine. It's only a
Yes,
matter of
sir.
time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, the new book, when is that? Is it out now, or does it come out later on?
My goal, King. The book is called 1984. This is
1984.
2024, so it's almost commemorative because it's 40 years ago when I was in moved to California.
Mm,
So I'll be coming back. That this summer will be 40 years when I return when the book takes place. So my goal is to have it out by no later than April, no later than June.
okay. Okay. And
That's my main goal because well, that's why I'm going home now to sit with my guys. We've been going back and forth. One of my guys, I just sent a lot of notes, um, of messages about that I was writing about it.
mhm.
And he read it. He was like, he was like, the way you said it ain't how that happened. I was like, really? And he told me something. I was like, damn, I forgot that. So you understand what I mean?
It's been a while though. There's certain
Yeah, yeah,
things,
oh yeah, oh yeah. It's been a crazy while. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
but that's my goal, King, to get it out this summer.
Yes, sir. Was there anything about, I think you said something about a TV show or something?
Well, I just so I just as of this Friday here, this after taping, but tomorrow, I mean next week, next in January, I start my new radio show.
Okay. All
So
right.
this radio station here brought me in to be a live air radio personality. So the show is called On the Porch with Kwa,
Mm,
Conversations Around the Culture.
okay.
I have this musical festival I do called Soul Unplugged. So I bring live bands, spoken word, music. We lock a block down, and we have beautiful Black people out there listening to good music, with vendors and all of that. We did call it called Soul Unplugged on the porch. So the city closed it down. So now I just take all of that and I put it in the studio, and that's what it's called, Soul Unplugged. I mean, on the porch with Qua. I'm having conversations on the front porch. Back in the day, we was going, especially you coming from
Yep.
Chicago, your front porch meant something. You
Yes,
know what I mean?
sir. Yes, sir. A
Can't go
party could
past
break
this
out,
part.
especially if you're on the west side. A party could break out at any time,
Oh, at
man.
the West Side, listen, King, your porch meant something.
Yeah.
What your mama say, or you can't go past that part of the
Yeah.
porch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't go over here. You can come outside, but you got to stay on the front porch. You know what I mean? So
Yes, sir.
everything happened. People got the girl braided your hair on your porch. The girls jumped double dutch on the porch.
Yeah.
You saw everything on the porch. Your grandmother sat on the porch in the morning. So I just want to bring those conversations back that we had on the porch with Quad, conversations around the culture. I get to play music. I get to have, like King, I have you on there. I get to promote us at
Mm-hmm.
our fullest. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do.
I salute that, man. I'm proud of you for being able to get the chance and to do that. And I look forward to hearing more from you with that and everything else. Any other endeavor that you have going on. Definitely.
Well, I do, like I said, we do Real Men, Real Talk, working with Black men in mental health. What I will say is this: it's not just what I got going on. I asked as many Black and brown men to gather once upon a time, gather together, man, and ask these three questions: How you doing? Are you okay? And how can I help you?
Mm,
If we check on each other with those three questions from a text message or a conversation, if we check on each other with those three questions, we can really change and help each other in our mental state. How are you okay? If you say no, then we ask you, how can we help? Somebody might just say, man, pray for me. Somebody might just say, send me a couple of dollars, whatever it is,
Yeah.
because once we gather, it becomes an emancipation for us. Whatever it is, I don't care. I smoke cigars once in a while. If me and my guys get to do that, if you go to the gym with your guys, you can sit there and have some moment of a conversation about our mental health, our well-being, our relationship, whatever, but mainly our mental health, because we can't help nobody until we help ourselves.
That's a
And
fact.
brothers got a lot of trauma, and
Mm-hmm.
we dismiss it real quick. You dismiss each other. Oh man, you all right, I'm
Because
guilty.
we've been institutionalizing our own neighborhoods and in our own daily lives to just dismiss what's actually wrong with us, though.
Yeah, yeah. Get over it. You be
Yeah.
all right. No.
Remember from a young boy, at least for me, it was don't cry. Are you a man or you a boy? Well, actuality, I'm a boy, but I know if I don't say I'm a man, I'm gonna get beat. So
You
I'm going to say I'm a man. You know, and it
yeah,
starts there with
yeah.
things like that, and it just perpetrates and takes its own life and it festers into something totally different. So you get these angry little boys who think they're men.
Mm-hmm. King, if again, we own the handle of IG, right?
Mm-hmm.
If anybody go on there, and I gave this example, right, where they say black men don't get to be human. This, if you can't check me out. From 0 to 3, if you fall down, everybody run. Oh my God, you okay? Right?
Yep.
That's the first thing. From about 6 to 9, why you crying? About 9 to about 12, stop acting like a little girl. You crying like a little woman. You a man. From 13 to 18, we bet not show no emotion, especially with our guys. You bet not talk about the girl left you. You bet not talk about how you feeling. If your mama died, you okay. You can cry about that. If your guy gets shot, you might can have some drinks and cry. You are told not to talk. At 19, and at 25, you get a little bit, but at 30, you get into a relationship and your lady
Mm-hmm.
say, open up and talk to me. And you go, how?
Yep. And then the other part is if I do open up to you, then you're gonna tell me I'm a punk. Well, I'm sorry.
Because you have been told not to.
Yeah, I've
And
been telling me for the last 25 years that. So why all of a sudden, yeah, you expect me to open up now and tell you how I feel?
I don't know how. I don't know how. We're not being allowed to be human.
I've been
Black,
wiping the slate clean every time something go wrong.
yeah, black boys been told you not to be human. We have been told not to be human, so we grow up to be black men, but we're not black human. We just
No,
black men.
just soldiers.
Exploitation. So that's my thing, King. I ask brothers to don't be afraid of that vulnerable side of you.
Yeah.
You got to keep the man in you. That's no question. But you even a bigger man. And then when our boys see us in that light,
Mm-hmm.
we give them permission to be like that.
Yep.
We give them permission to be sensitive warriors. We give them permission to be. We give them permission to heal. You know what I mean? Take your time to heal. That's my main thing. Is we as you said, what I got going on, I have that, but I just, man, brothers need to really work on our mental health, man, because we being damaged and we passing that damage down to our children. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And with the music and all this, it's not getting any better. It's getting worse because it's being continually passed down that way. And then you can see it on the actions. And then when they get locked up, they crying.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get locked up, I need somebody. Now, if we can get it now and not be afraid, man, we can save a lot of ourselves, man.
Yes,
We can
sir.
be better men, just be and last but not least, King, I ask brothers, stand up and hold your guys accountable, man. If your guy got children, he not taking care of them, talk to him, man. If he got a woman, he beating on it. If he got a woman, he cheat, man. Hold your guy accountable. I'm just saying, I ain't talking about you getting them. Just hold them accountable, like, fam. Can you do better? And if they say, man, I can't, and can we help you? You can't help me. Well, can I get somebody to get you some help? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever we can, we have to do that, man. Because I don't worry about them. I pay attention to us. They're gonna be who they're gonna be. But me,
Correct.
you, and us, this is who I care about. I
And
know
I
I got to focus on us.
and I'll say this for the young man as well. It's okay to express yourselves to a certain group of people that you feel protected around. It's okay say that you're having a bad day or you don't like what's going on in your household, in your home as a young teenager or adolescent, whatever it is, it's okay to do it, but make sure that you have a safe environment and safe group of people around you to do it in. Because if you don't, that's what can also ruin it for you, and you may not want to express yourself ever again to people.
Mm-hmm.
But we
Mm-hmm.
need the safe spaces to say these things and say how we really feel about the way our
Mm-hmm.
life is going and the way the world, we feel the weight of the world is on our shoulders, and man, it's getting hard. This job is really beating me up, or
That's
it's
right.
getting, yeah, it's getting hard to take care of the wife and the kids, and have those type of safe spaces, and we need those.
Yes, sir.
Because what you don't want is, you don't want the black man to get up and walk away from his responsibility.
Yeah. 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 Yes, sir. Say it, man. King, say it.
Yes, sir. And I'm only saying that because I know some guys who had a tough time last year. A friend of mine, may he rest in peace, he took his life.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
took he
Yeah.
took his life. He committed suicide, and I was very upset when it happened. Actually, I was confused when that happened because I was there when it went down. So
Mm.
I didn't understand what was going on. But then after that, you start looking at his children and going, man, like, what got him to the point where a guy who was doing a really great he had a really great situation, what makes him stop and blow his brains out?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I never had that conversation with him because he was always frantic, or he was upset about something, so he never really opened up. And I thought,
Mm-hmm.
like, between me and him, we had that safe space, but there's certain things that you later find out, like,
Yeah.
he didn't feel comfortable with just saying that.
Yeah. 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 If you get a chance, King, read this book or it's a great reference book. Terry Williams, Black Pain. It's called Black Pain by Terry
Mm.
Williams. And Cry in the Dark, Men Cry by Jason Williams. Are you familiar with Jason Wilson?
No, sir. No, sir. I'm not familiar.
Both books talk about that we we hide it. You know what I mean? It always looks good from, the outside. Like you got it going on, it's this and that. And then when you get the chance to sit down, you go, wow, this is what was really, really going on. A buddy of mine who was gonna commit suicide said he wasn't he wasn't trying to kill himself. He just wanted the pain to stop.
Mm.
He just wanted the pain to stop. And black men, or black people, when it comes to see, we have a real bad thing with therapy and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
But you got to
it's
talk about it. I don't care
yeah,
who you talk to.
yeah, talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And we have to, in the group, I have two therapists that come.
Mm-hmm.
And they are able to articulate the different types of therapy you need. It's not just one, because our stigma of what we've been told is supposed to be, we tell them it's cognitive therapy. You know what I mean? It's so many different layers of it and forms of it. And then, there are Black psychologists now, right? There are so many. And if you can't, Black therapists, and if you can't find a Black therapist that won't talk to the culture of it, at least if you do talk to a therapist that's non-color, make sure they're sensitive to the differences of who we are. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
you got to break that narrative that therapy ain't for us, it's for white folks. Therapy, and keep this, whatever happened in this house, stay in this house. Uh, that's not our business. Don't be telling nobody our business. I don't know your guy's situation, but his situation sound like many that we know you like.
Mm-hmm.
Now you couldn't. I had one of my best friends deals with it now, and I'm lenient on him now because, as I said, reading this book, Black Pain by Terry Williams, what she says, everybody, healing is a journey, not a destination. Everybody has to take their time to heal.
Yes, sir. That's a
If we
fact.
play sports and we tear up our quad and you got a contract, they'll give you, he's out for 3 to 6 weeks plus 2 more, right? And we'll applaud that, but we got friends who going through something and we say, hey man, come on, man, damn. I mean, people, Cameron, remember this? People get shot all the time, B.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That's how we treat, oh man, shit, women leave us all the time, man.
Yeah.
What's
Toughen up. Toughen up, bro. Toughen up.
toughen up. We dismiss their whole thing. So it's a journey. Again, you asked me, I'm sorry if I ramble, but
No, you good.
I'm really a big advocate for Black men sitting down with other Black men and balance the group out. Young person, young person, middle age, 40 something, and an older head, and just and build. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When I sit with my crew and we having a cigar cocktail, I'm not just talking crazy. We really building. Like, man, what is it like to be 60? Oh man, let me tell you, you got to do this, this. Hey, quiet. Look, your health, you need to go get a prostate exam.
Yeah,
You
very
know,
important. Yeah.
because but you get that from older brothers, and I can say to a younger guy, oh, this is why you feeling like that at 35. What? Yeah, this is this. This what this dog. That ain't nothing. This is what you got to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
we having this conversation, and then finally it's an 18, 17-year-old there. Like, look, if you're 20 years old, if you save $1,000 from the next 20 years, you're gonna have at the end of it, you got 20. You understand what I mean? It's all that going on, and we protecting each other.
Yep.
I really ask brothers to do that. Get you a day, man. And don't wait. Get a Saturday. Get something like, hey, every Saturday, man, or whatever. Me, my guy, so we going to. It's the breakfast. We sitting down and
Yep.
just be. We might start off talking about sports, whatever, but it
But we
starts.
gonna have that conversation though.
Yeah, we gonna have that conversation.
Yeah.
And when cats say I'm not, okay, but there are some that's gonna say they are,
Yep.
and bring them to the fold, man. So
And
that's
sometimes it just takes that one or two to finally say something.
oh yeah. And as men, as brothers, we fam, we all familiar. So once it's moving, we lock in. We
Yeah.
start, yeah, that's bring fam with you. Your
Yep.
guy, yeah. Your guy was good people. Bring him with you. Hey, I'm gonna bring my other guy. Yeah, that's bring him. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
5
Definitely.
turn to 10, 10 turn to 20. This is what we do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So let's make it. Let's make it. Let's make it a new thing to talk and open up about what's going on in our lives.
Yes, sir. Quad, this has been a great interview.
Man, thank you.
I appreciate it. This is awesome.
Man, I love it, fam.
This is awesome.
It seems like we could do this forever.
Yes, sir. But I want to end it because you got stuff to do and I got stuff that I need to take care of as well. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
sir, King.
So I appreciate you coming out, getting on the podcast with me, doing an interview with me, and I'm gonna leave it at that. So to everyone that's listening, as always, remember the mission statement when you're striving for greatness. God never puts you in the driver's seat if it's taken. We are done here.
Hashtag, baby.
Yes,
Peace,
sir.
power, and prosperity, King.
Yes,
Salute.
sir. Salute.